Welcome back to the channel USD Coins, Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters, to another thrilling deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins. Today's episode takes us into the heart of American numismatics as we explore a fascinating and nearly mythical piece that has stirred the imaginations of collectors and investors alike, the legendary 1988 P Liberty Quarter Dollar, a coin that in ordinary cases is worth no more than 25 cents. But in one extraordinary instance has been rumored to carry a staggering face value of $3 million because of its unique errors and striking minting mistakes. Get ready, because this isn't just about a piece of metal, it's about history, mystery, rarity, and the hunt for something extraordinary. So why would a common 1988 quarter, minted in Philadelphia with a simple P mark, be worth a life-changing sum? It all begins with a perfect storm of rare mint errors, unusual die combinations, double striking, off-centering, planchet anomalies, and other flaws that, when aligned just right, create a collector's dream. These mistakes are more than accidents, they're unintentional masterpieces, each one telling a story about what can go wrong in a highly mechanical and controlled minting process. Let's start by diving into what a standard 1988 P Liberty Quarter looks like. These coins are part of the Washington Quarter series, featuring the profile of George Washington on the obverse, which had been a mainstay of the quarter since 1932. On the reverse, we see an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows above two olive branches. Standard issue coins weigh about 5.67 grams, have a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and are composed of a copper-nickel clad sandwich over a copper core. The mint mark, P, below the motto, "In God We Trust," identifies it as being struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In typical circulation, these coins are common, over 562 million were struck that year alone. But the story we're exploring today revolves around an extremely rare anomaly, perhaps a once-in-a-generation mistake that elevates a simple piece of currency into the realm of legendary collectibles. The first key aspect in understanding the potential $3 million valuation is recognizing the types of errors that could have occurred. Some of the rarest coins in history have achieved astronomical value due to striking mistakes, usually from a limited run or a one-time mishap at the mint. When it comes to the 1988 P quarter, collectors have speculated and in some cases claimed to have found quarters with features such as double die obverse, reverse design carryovers from previous years, transitional planchet errors, and even coins struck on the wrong planchets altogether, such as being accidentally struck on a dime planchet or even on a foreign coin planchet. One of the most tantalizing aspects of the 1988 P Liberty Quarter comes from rumors of it being struck with a reverse die that was actually intended for another year's production. Transitional errors like these can occur when dies are being changed between minting runs and a leftover die from the previous year is mistakenly used. In the case of the 1988 quarter, speculation has circulated in coin collecting communities that some may have been struck with a 1987 or even a 1989 reverse die. Though subtle, the differences in design between years can be detected by expert numismatists through details such as feather placement on the eagle, the spacing of the lettering, or even minor differences in relief and field texture. These errors are not just quirks, they are evidence of historical missteps, oversights that were never meant to see the light of day. Then we come to the possibility of double striking. A double-struck coin is one that was not properly ejected from the press before being struck again. This creates a ghost-like image, often with a second misaligned portrait or reverse, that appears slightly off from the original strike. Such errors are visually dramatic and command high interest from collectors. If a 1988 P quarter were discovered with a clean and well-centered double strike, especially on both sides of the coin, its value could easily skyrocket into the five-figure range, possibly more, if paired with other rare anomalies. Now imagine combining these errors. Let's say a double-struck quarter struck on a foreign planchet with a mismatched reverse die. That's when we start talking about astronomical value. This brings us closer to the rumored $3 million specimen. While the existence of such a coin hasn't been confirmed by any grading company like PCGS or NGC with public certification, the possibility alone is enough to drive collectors to obsessively inspect every 1988 quarter that passes through their hands. Another fascinating possibility is the idea of a coin struck on a transitional planchet. In U.S. minting history, these errors have occurred during years when the composition of the coin changed. A famous example is the 1943 copper penny, a coin that should have been made from steel due to wartime metal conservation but was instead struck in copper. Fewer than 20 of those are known to exist, and each is valued in the millions. While the Washington quarter did not undergo such a dramatic composition change in 1988, planchet errors can still occur. A blank intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin can be fed into the coining press by mistake. If a quarter were struck on a planchet intended for a Susan B. Anthony dollar, for example, the weight, size, and composition would be significantly off, creating an ultra-rare and valuable error. Such a find would almost certainly command 6 or 7 figures at auction. Other notable minting anomalies that could impact value include broad strikes, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, and wrong metal errors. A broad strike occurs when the coin is struck outside the confines of the collar that usually shapes the edge. These coins often appear stretched and have no reeded edge. A clipped planchet is a coin that is missing a portion due to a blank being punched from a sheet of metal too close to the edge. These errors are eye-catching and desirable, especially if the missing portion does not affect key parts of the design, such as Washington's face or the eagle's wings. Another error worth mentioning is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank is not correctly aligned in the press, causing the design to be struck off to one side. Minor off-center strikes are common and usually not worth much, but a well-centered 50% off-center strike that still displays a full date and mint mark is much rarer, and that rarity drives up the price significantly. If such an off-center 1988 P quarter were also struck on the wrong planchet or bore evidence of a double die, the combined rarity factors could push the value into the hundreds of thousands, if not more, depending on demand and the overall eye appeal of the coin. Let's not overlook the role of die cracks and cuds, where portions of the die actually break or deteriorate, resulting in raised blobs or irregularities on the coin's surface. These kinds of die errors are often considered more minor, but when they occur in dramatic fashion, such as forming a die break across Washington's face or creating an unintended third eye effect, they can command significant premiums. The more dramatic and unique the flaw, the more interest it generates among collectors seeking conversation pieces or unique specimens for display. The legend of a $3 million 1988 P Liberty quarter may sound like folklore, but even the chance of such a coin's existence encourages rigorous hunting through old change jars, estate collections, and even bank rolls. The true value of such a coin doesn't just come from its metal content or face value, it comes from its story, its scarcity, and the frenzy of competition that surrounds its potential discovery. Let's also consider another angle: provenance. Coins that have been passed through notable collections or discovered under dramatic circumstances often gain value simply because of their backstory. If a 1988 P quarter with multiple high-grade errors were discovered in a sealed mint bag that hadn't been opened for decades, or recovered from a forgotten bank vault, or even the effects of a famous collector, that context could add additional desirability and mystique. Auction houses thrive on such narratives, and when the hammer drops at those sales, it's often the tale as much as the metal that's being bought. So, could there really be a 1988 P Liberty quarter worth $3 million? The answer is complicated. There is no publicly verified example that has reached that sale price or grading. However, coin collecting, like art collecting, thrives on the principle that value is determined not just by rarity but by demand. If a coin with enough compelling, layered mint errors surfaced, and it were certified authentic by a major grading authority, the sky is truly the limit. Numismatic history is filled with coins that shattered expected values because they captured the imagination of collectors and investors willing to pay a premium for the right piece. It's also worth noting that high-end error coin collectors are a dedicated and often secretive group. Not every million-dollar coin makes headlines. Some are traded quietly through private sales, without ever reaching a public auction. This adds an air of mystery to coins like the one we're discussing. Could the $3 million 1988 P quarter already be in someone's possession? Could it be sitting in a family coin jar, unrecognized, waiting to be discovered by the next sharp-eyed enthusiast? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing and mysterious coins to ever come out of the U.S. Mint, the 1993 P Liberty Quarter Dollar. Yes, you heard that right. We're not just talking about your average quarter here. We're talking about a very specific coin from 1993, minted in Philadelphia, with a face value of just 25 cents but rumored and reported to be worth as much as $2 million in the collector's world due to some absolutely fascinating errors and anomalies. This isn't just numismatic trivia, this is a true collector's treasure story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Now, if you're new to coin collecting or just curious about how a simple coin you might have once spent on a gumball could be worth a fortune today, you're in for an incredible journey. We're going to go through the rich history, technical specifics, and exact details that make the 1993 P Liberty Quarter such a stunning outlier. And we're going to break down all the elements that coin collectors, experts, and even the US Mint itself have been investigating for years. There are layers to this story, layers that involve minting errors, planchet irregularities, strike anomalies, and potential insider involvement that may have led to the creation of an ultra-rare collectible unlike anything else in circulation. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you look at pocket change forever. First off, let's set the scene. The year is 1993. The Clinton administration is beginning, the internet is still in its infancy, and the US Mint is continuing its decades-long task of producing billions of coins for everyday use. That year, over 639 million Washington quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone, designated by the P Mint mark. Now, with a mintage number that high, it might seem impossible that any single coin could stand out. After all, these coins are mass-produced using highly automated processes. But that's exactly what makes this story so mind-bending. Among these hundreds of millions of coins, a few, maybe even just one, slipped through with anomalies so profound, collectors and experts started whispering about a $2 million price tag. Let's talk about what makes a coin like this worth so much. It's not about gold or silver content, since quarters from this era are clad coins, made primarily of copper and nickel. The value doesn't come from the metal, but from the rarity and significance of its errors. In coin collecting, or numismatics, the more dramatic and unexplainable the error, and the fewer examples known to exist, the higher the value. We're not talking about minor die chips or double strikes that are relatively common. We're talking about unintentional, highly visible mistakes that defy the norms of minting quality control. Mistakes that suggest a perfect storm of mechanical failure, oversight, and perhaps even a bit of mystery. The 1993 P Liberty Quarters legend began when collectors started noticing extremely unusual traits in a handful of coins from that mintage year. Among the most talked about issues were off-center strikes, misaligned dies, double denominations, ghosting, missing clad layers, and in one or two cases, evidence suggesting the use of the wrong planchet entirely. For those unfamiliar, a planchet is the blank metal disc that eventually becomes a coin. If the wrong planchet is used, say, a quarter is struck on a planchet meant for a dime or a foreign coin, the result is a wild and rare error. Now, here's where things start to get truly fascinating. One of the reported 1993 P quarter errors included what appeared to be a double denomination strike. Imagine seeing a quarter with remnants of a Roosevelt dime's design faintly visible underneath the Washington bust. It's as if two coins' designs were merged into one, something only possible through a rare minting anomaly. These coins are typically created when a planchet already struck as one coin is accidentally fed back into the press and receives an impression of a different denomination. It's a freak accident, and it's so rare that any coin exhibiting this mistake becomes an immediate standout. Another intriguing error discovered in the 1993 P Liberty Quarter is the misalignment of the obverse and reverse dies. Normally, coins are struck with extreme precision. The obverse, head side, and the reverse, tail side, are perfectly aligned, ensuring that the top of George Washington's head matches up with the top of the eagle on the reverse. But some 1993 P quarters have surfaced with clear rotational misalignments. In these examples, turning the coin from heads to tails shows that the reverse is rotated by anywhere from 10 to 90 degrees. While small degrees of misalignment are not uncommon, larger misalignments, especially when combined with other errors, elevate a coin's desirability and value dramatically. Then there's the missing clad layer phenomenon. These coins appear as if they've been partially stripped of their outer metal coating, revealing a coppery tone beneath. This occurs when the nickel-clad layer doesn't adhere properly to the copper core during planchet production. A 1993 P quarter missing the outer layer on either side, and especially if both sides are affected, would be an extraordinary find. Even more shocking are examples where the coin appears to have the appearance of being struck on a solid copper planchet, which is simply not standard procedure for quarters from that period. These are coins that look and feel unlike anything else in your change jar, and experts say that such an error could easily push a coin into 6 or even 7-figure territory depending on condition, clarity of the mistake, and verified authenticity, but we're not done yet. Another bizarre feature observed in select 1993 P Liberty quarters is ghosting. Ghosting occurs when the pressure from striking the coin causes the image from one side to faintly appear on the other. This creates an eerie, spectral outline of the reverse design on the obverse, or vice versa. In the case of the Washington quarter, you might see a faint eagle wing pattern ghosting through behind Washington's neck. It's a striking visual and not one that can be faked easily, making these coins especially attractive to seasoned collectors. Some reports go even further, claiming that a number of 1993 P quarters exhibit characteristics that align with known mint test strikes or experimental coins. These are often not intended for circulation and might be made using different metals, dyes, or designs. Every now and then, a test coin escapes the mint due to human error or as part of a small batch that accidentally gets released into circulation. While there's no public confirmation from the U.S. Mint regarding an official test batch for 1993 quarters, several experts have speculated that some of the extreme anomalies seen in these coins may stem from experimental processes gone awry. That theory alone fuels the mythos surrounding the $2 million valuation. Authentication, of course, is key. With a coin this potentially valuable, professional grading and verification are critical. Reputable services like PCGS and NGC have received and slabbed several 1993 P Liberty quarters with extraordinary errors, and the highest grades combined with the most dramatic errors are the ones that truly push the price tag into the millions. While many common error coins sell for modest premiums, those rare few that combine multiple anomalies, such as a double denomination, misaligned die, and missing clad layer all in one, can command astronomical prices at auction, especially if they're in mint state condition. It's also worth noting that the market for rare coins is as much about narrative and provenance as it is about physical traits. A 1993 P quarter with a dramatic error and a compelling backstory, perhaps discovered in circulation by an unsuspecting spender, or passed down unknowingly through a family estate, can fetch an even higher price due to the mystique surrounding its discovery. Collectors are drawn to these human elements. They're not just buying a piece of metal, they're buying a slice of history, an unsolved mystery, a conversation piece that holds a powerful allure. And speaking of mystery, there's a persistent theory in some collector circles that the most valuable 1993 P Liberty quarter was never meant to be released at all. Some believe that an insider at the Philadelphia Mint may have intentionally or unintentionally allowed a test strike or major error coin to leave the facility. While there's no hard evidence to confirm this theory, similar situations have occurred in the past. The infamous 1933 Double Eagle, for example, was illegally removed from the mint and eventually became one of the most valuable coins ever sold. Could the 1993 P quarter be another example of an extraordinary error that slipped through the cracks under suspicious circumstances? We may never know for sure. Regardless of the origin, the buzz around this coin continues to grow. Online auction listings, coin shows, and collector forums all contain threads speculating on the whereabouts and authenticity of these incredible 1993 P quarters. Stories abound of people finding odd-looking quarters in their change and rushing to have them evaluated. And while most turn out to be standard coins or minor errors, every so often, a new discovery reignites the excitement. So if you're listening right now and wondering whether you might have a treasure in your own collection or tucked away in a jar of old change, take a close look at those quarters. Examine every detail, look for off-center strikes, strange colorations, ghosting, and any signs that something just isn't right. Because one coin among millions could hold the key to an incredible payday.